Oh, hey, Scully. How you doing? How you feeling? Rested?
I feel fine.
What?
That poster. Where'd you get it?
Oh, I got it down on M Street at some head shop about 5 years ago. Why?
No, I just wanted to send one to somebody.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Who? Who?
Oh, just some guy. Jack. M Street?
Yeah. Hey, does this have something to do with that case you were working on?
That case. Yeah. Yes, it does.
Did you solve it?
Me? No. No, I was on vacation, just getting out of my own head for a few days. What about you? Did you, get anything done while I was gone?
Oh, God. I mean, it's amazing what I can accomplish without incessant meddling or questioning into everything I do. It's just... There's got to be an explanation.
Oh, I don't know. I think some things are better left unexplained.
Trollord Games, join the fray. Trollord Games, join the fray.
We are live. Hold on. Something's wrong with my mess here. We are live. Let me refresh. There we go. Refresh. All right. We are live. Look at that. It is July 23rd, 2024. And one of the conversations we've been having around the Troll Ins for everyone just joining us is weapons. As we are wrapping up the Monstrous Armory and the Adventurer's Armory. At the end of the day, and you may have heard me just say this to Chuck, a club, a sword, an axe, a pick, they're all kind of the same thing. It's a stick with something on it to bludgeon people or break their skin. It's all kind of the same thing. Maybe one's got an edge or what have you, but Johnny Omaha says lies. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know. It's interesting when you, of course, Johnny, of course, when you get into the minutia of these things, I don't know how many different types of bullets there are, but probably 10 dozen. But at the end of the day, they do the same thing. They rip your flesh up and, whatever. I saw many bludgeons at the Crusader Museum in Cordova. The funny thing that I think for myself in looking at this, now Davis has written this book, but in looking at this book kind of coalesce, and looking at some of the stuff he's done and some of the stuff he sent over. I see you, Alien. I'm getting one right now. Is it how really honestly cool, and I wish Davis were here to hear me say this, the club actually is. If you look at like the Mesoamericans, the clubs that they made, the Inuits, the clubs that they made, some of the clubs that the Egyptians made, they're just really cool. With all the decoration, the knob on the end, all that stuff.
Yeah, they're trying to get you good and getting drunk early on. Alien and Pandora, they're both in there heavy. They beat out. Lando was slow today. Anyway.
My pancreas thanks you, or maybe not. I'm not sure how that plays out. So
Johnny wants to put on clubs, I think. Actually, it's what he wants.
It's just cool. I mean, I was looking at, I don't even know what led me to it, but I was looking at some Inuit clubs the other day. I'm saying that right? Inuit, and they're just really, they're carved so beautifully with the haft itself is set and like it's an eagle, and the eagle's beak is holding the round knob. and you can tell that a huge amount of work went into these things, and they just look really, really cool. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing as an axe without an edge. That's all it is. You hit someone in the side of the head with that club, it's gonna kill them or hurt them something ferociously, unless they have a helmet on, in which is the same thing. It's kind of the helmet. And, I don't know. It's interesting. Weapons and armor is interesting. The cool thing about it, I have to say, I wish I could show you guys more here in the stream. I just don't have it available. Is the number of weapons, armor, shields, and helms that Peter Bradley has drawn, and how very, very cool they are. I was going through the book today. His art, his weapon art is so meticulous. I mean, it is really, really cool. I don't know what he sent me yesterday. Some kind of jacket, pleated jacket, metal pleats or something on it, and he had drawn each one little pleats. I mean, it's just really, really cool. So I'm anxious for that book to get out, if nothing else, to showcase Peter's very, very, very excellent art on that stuff. Blah, blah, blah. What is the difference between a club and a bat? Yeah, nothing. It's just really nothing. You can beat someone to death with a club or a bat or baby seal, whatever's happened in the 90s. I don't know, but
I read that as bar, but that's the same thing. It doesn't really matter.
At the end of the day, and this is one of the things Davis, when he was writing the book, he began to grumble about it. At the end of the day, they're all the same thing, and they all do this very narrow damage of 1 to 6 to 1 to 10. I mean, it's pretty kind of same thing, but it's the art that actually makes this stuff leap off of the page. It's Crowbar in there. Probably Crowbill should be in there. I don't even know where I picked up the word Crowbill, but I started using Crowbill instead of military pick in my characters many years ago. And I don't know if a Crowbill is an actual weapon. I need to ask Davis if he put it in the monster or in the armory or not. I have no idea. How's it going,
see
Sparky?
what the great Google says.
Yeah, what does the Google say?
The Google says that the Crowbill is a kind of forceps for extracting bullets, etc., from wounds and etc.
That is not the way I envision it.
I have discovered evidently a rebel version of Wikipedia. Hold on just a moment. We'll fix that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's a weapon. It's basically, it looks like a military pick personally, but
yeah. Gothar says it's a Becky Corbin. I always picture the Crowbill as a military pick because it's a single-handed weapon. I think a Becky Corbin is two-handed. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
We had a question roll through here. Trash Monkill asks, are the AA and Reforged CNC updates? Do you have any? I absolutely have some. I got an update on AA just about an hour ago. Finn, our editor, he is finished with his, or will be this afternoon, finished with his last pass on the Amazing Adventures Castle Keeper's Guide. He said there's almost nothing that needs fixed. I'll go in and make those last little plug-in fixes, and it'll go to the printers Friday, I think, is when we'll get that thing set up and going. And the Amazing Adventures Player's Handbook will go to Finn in the morning. We're printing him off an actual copy so he can read this thing and go through it. And he'll be done with that in 4 or 5 days, and then that will go to the printers right after whatchamajigger. So the Amazing Adventures, the 2 core books for Amazing Adventures will be at the printers. I'm about 90% certain before Gen Con, which is just next week. If you're going to be up in Indianapolis, check us out. We'll be there at some booth somewhere. And then as soon as these Amazing Adventures books are off and to the printers, we will turn our attention back to the Player's Handbook and back to the Castle Keeper's Guide. The PHB, it will go to Finn for final editing as soon as he's done with the PHB for Amazing Adventure. So that'll be while I'm at Gen Con or just after. The Castle Keeper's Guide, it's not going to have many changes in it. There's a few things that I want to add and address that are in there. I want to make simpler swimming rules, and I swear somewhere we've got rules for putting on armor and not taking armor off. The timeline, but I can't find it in a CKG, so that needs to go in the CKG. And I could have sworn there was endurance rules, but I couldn't find those, so that will be put in the CKG as well. So those little changes will be added to the Castle Keeper's Guide. It's not in the CKG that I can find. What are you specifically referencing, Jeremy? So those 3 things. The what?
I think he's agreeing with you on this. What he's saying.
Yeah. So those three things need to be fixed. And then the monster book, of course, is the always late to the party, that poor monster book. Yes, there will be some real changes to CKG. Not huge, Sparky. So don't feel compelled. Yes, Alan, we do. They are going to look. They already look beautiful. We need to get them out there. We need to get all this stuff out there. Yeah, absolutely, Alan. So the Monsters and Treasures is the last. It's always late to the party. I think we're still lingering on the old. We're still selling the old layout on that book. We got a few hundred left, but I'm not sure where we are on the art. I haven't talked to Jeremy about that. Kind of an update in the past week or so, but I know a bunch of insects arrived today. The giant hornets. I saw some that looked really cool. So some more art has come in, and it really is at this point we've got about 5 or 6 different artists working on this book, and it's when they get this stuff done that it lands. And I have made a decision. I will announce this here. It's rolled around the dens a little bit. I think Jeremy put this idea in my head a month or two ago, but we're going to have a version of the Platinum Dragon in there. I have decided that I want it in there. I don't know why, but I want it in there. We will probably not have a version of Tiamat in there, but we will have a version of the Platinum. So yeah,
in the Monsters and Treasure.
Yes, I like it. I don't know why. It got it in my head.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know. I always liked the dragon. I didn't use it very often in my old D&D games. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of good dragon. Blah 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 blah. But I don't know.
I know. Don't remind me about the Dracolich. Now I am pissed. Sparky's absolutely correct, 100%.
Chuck be mad that it's Platinum Dragon.
Right.
We do have to do one more pass on that book. But I will say, I think what has spurred most of this on is Jason Walton's dragons are so badass.
Imagine, if you will, Steve.
There's a dragon. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Chuck. I'll tell you what, right now. The Dracolich, this is this thing you guys made up that was never really in any game anywhere.
No, it's heavily in AD&D. No. See, now Lando's getting on the people love undead. They love dragons. Bam.
Okay, so this is what we'll do. It's Jeremy says it's a very famous monster. Now it wasn't in the original AD&D though, right? It comes in 2nd edition. Is that where it lands?
It might have been in 1st edition. It's Forgotten Realms is where it first showed up.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's
it's a setting.
I never played it.
Yeah,
I'll stick down for you, Chuck. So this is what we'll do, because by putting in a version of the Platinum, it's going to kind of make it uneven. We have 5 evil, 5 good. That'll give us 6 good, 5 evil. We will go ahead and bring the Dracolich in there and get Jason to do that as well. That'll give us 6 evil and 6 good. And he does skeletal shit like nobody's tomorrow.
Can you imagine? Oh man, he could maybe make it a little bit of a tribute to Ed's. You know, the picture that everybody loves. You know.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, so we'll do that. Now we're probably going to have to go back through and cut a few monsters out because that book might be getting too long. I'm not sure.
You have to go back and look. You know.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the monster book in a while. Jeremy's been kind of, headlining that as I focus on Amazing Adventures and the other 2 knuckleheads. No cuts, not our monster. Cut some stinkers. Yeah, there was enough, and there's going to be another monster book down the line. A book of Fae that I'm actually very interested in that. I use Fae in my game far more than I do Undead. So we'll have it'll be much smaller, like 128 pages book dedicated to the Fae. And it's going to be very, very different. It's going to be a lot of singular creatures that aren't like the Frost Giant. There's bunches of Frost Giants. Well, there's Green Witch and there's one of them, that type of thing for you to use in that direction.
I got some questions for you in a moment. Go ahead.
Okay, hold on just 1 second. Jason Walton's cover for the Adventures Armory is awesome. Yeah, Chuck, I want to give that to you to put in the stream for those who haven't seen it. And this really has.
I've got it. I just need to find it.
Okay, yeah, put it up. Peter Bradley did. I need to talk to Peter about it. He did an absolutely fantastic cover for Armory, but it didn't quite capture the mood that Davis and I were wanting in there. So I shouted at Jason, interrupted his dragon painting. And had him had him belt out that thing, and it turned out beyond. Oh my
I
God!
might have
beyond.
accidentally dropped that in the crowdfunding channel on Discord a few days ago. Maybe I might have accidentally done that. So you know,
Excellent.
I didn't say anything. I just dropped it and left it there. You know what I mean?
That thing is just amazing.
Um, all right, here we go. Let me get it up here. There we go. Oh, wait, that's not it. Hold on one moment. Wrong picture. Just a second.
What did you put up? Hey,
Nothing
while you're
important.
putting that up, shoot Dracula. While you're putting that up, shoot me a question. Give me a question I can
Oh,
answer.
yeah, I'll get it up. First question from, this is from Airmile. Question. We discussed Avignon being placed incorrectly on the map some time ago on Discord. If Avignon were to move where Alice is, would the Lithian River or River Angle, maybe? ANGL. Also want to move so Avignon is still at the mouth of the river and close to Lithium Bay.
Yeah. So what he discovered is, and this is very interesting to me, and I kind of wrote the history of this out. It took me hours, dude. It took me hours to stretch to figure out what you had discovered and where the error had occurred. The original map that Davis did for the World of Air had Avignon on it, and it was just kind of placed. And then when Peter went back through and did it, and Peter had to put it. It's not really hexagonal, but he did it mileage and he stretched. We did all kinds of conversations about this distance and that distance and all that shit. And he put Avignon, and I never caught it. So he moved Avignon south of where it's supposed to be, and onto that bay and closer to whatever is it, Corellia? No, it's Salina, I think. No, it's Corellia. But it was supposed to be a little bit further north. So all of these maps are actually, Avignon is slightly south of where it should be. It should be north on the Ursel Bridge. Avignon was built. It was a village. It originally was a dwarven community that was on the western coast of the Sea of Chenault, of the channel there where the Ursel Bridge was. And then it grows over as the dwarves abandon it, leave, whatever, die off, and the humans take over the settlement and build a city on it, build another city on it, a city on a city on a city on it as time progresses. So it's supposed to be, when you go to Avignon, it's supposed to be somewhat like Alstrad. It's multi-layered beneath the city. If you go to if you go like 100 feet beneath Avignon, you're going to be in an old dwarven ruin and that type of stuff. So that's the way it's kind of built, and it's supposed to be attached to the Ursel Bridge. But at no point in all of these years, because I don't run games up there in and around Avignon, did I notice that Avignon was not on the Ursel Bridge, which is really bizarrely funny. So that's got to be fixed. So Avignon has to go north to the Ursel, or the Ursel has to come south on these maps. I haven't quite decided how I want to do. But I think, what did the description say? Armel, it said it's on the Lithian River, I think. I think it's on the southern bank of the Lithian River. And at the mouth of the Ursel. So that's got to be fixed. Very cool that you discovered that. Very aggravating that it's been that way for so many years. All right, what's the next question, John? Or did you get that picture?
Oh yeah, let me get that for you. Here you go. There you go. I almost clicked on there. Ah, shit. Hold on, wrong one again. Let me get this off of here real quick. All right, sorry. There we go.
Yeah, that thing is just. Oh my word! Is that turned out fantastic?
Yeah, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. It's
new. There you go.
There you go. That'll fix the problem right there.
That sort of works actually. Yeah. Super. What does he say? Super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Barely an inconvenience. Not a problem at all. Let's see.
I must say that I need to recognize that guy, and I can't remember his name. That's off of someone's Wolf Alone. I think you put it up. That's someone's catchphrase. I don't need to steal his catchphrase.
Yeah. We do it enough as it is anyways.
Yes, Sparky. We're almost through another emergency. Should be through it by Thursday. I'll get back on that.
Sure. Boy, you are a Mr. fucking positive. I'll give you that.
Oh, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. I gave us a deadline. And we're going to make it. By God.
It has caused much confusion and delay.
Confusion and delay. What is the next? I'm still stuck on it. He's a fat comptroller out in England.
I've got it written down here. The fat controller laughs. I wrote that down in my notes.
I can't get over it. It's just weird.
Johnny Omaha asked, here's a question. What was something in the OGL rework that you swore was OGL, but it turns out wasn't actually OGL and free to use? Anything?
Wait, say that again.
What was something in the OGL rework that you swore was OGL, but it turns out it actually wasn't OGL and free to use?
I don't. That's going to be some monsters probably, and that's kind of most of the stuff in the player's handbook. We did that search, and we could tell where from the SRD it was taken. We could go right to the SRD document and it was taken. But there's some of the monster names I think that are more open and than we thought they were. That were more public domain than we thought they were. I think monsters is probably going to be the biggest problem there, or not problem, whatever. And at a certain point, I think we're here. Honestly, TLG is not going to make the risk, as everybody knows. We're much too small to tangle with anybody legally. But I honestly think that we have reached that point where all of this material is just open. That nobody is going to be able to protect words like mind flayer, or
I believe that 100%. I mean,
it's just the white dragon, the black dragon, whatever. You're just not gonna be able to protect it.
You want a conspiracy theory? I think that's part of the motivation behind what happened with that, because when you see something slipping away, a lot of times you want to try to reach back onto it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it may very well have been, but I think that at this point, it really is going to, the things you're going to be able to copyright and trademark are very, very specific setting, material, stories, characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But stuff that they've tried to hold on to, like the Mind Flayer for so many years, as soon as it started cropping up in video games, you've kind of lost the argument. Now, if you were to take, the Kingdom of Kaomar and the King Luther and put them in a video game, that's a problem. But this stuff that's kind of been circulating through the public domain for many, many decades is, I think it's kind of done, and it's really just waiting for the last rise of it to die. What's the next question?
Jeremy says the OGL was pretty obvious. It reads completely differently in terms of style, though. Rick Montel says, last Thursday you guys talked about a TLG bowling team. I suggested the Bowl Lords. I just used it in our summer league. I'm the only one who got the joke. The Bowl Lords.
That's a great name. That is a fantastic name.
Well, kinda. It's pretty good. I mean, I love it, but it almost resonates with me with you called yourselves the Bong Lords as well. You know what I mean?
The Bong Lords.
The Bong Lords.
What was the? How was a great console? The Wii? Yeah, it was called the Wii. WII or whatever it was.
Yeah,
it was a fantastic console, and they had a bowling thing on there. We need to all buy some Wiis.
Oh yeah, well you can bowl. Yeah.
All right. And then we started bowling, a virtual bowling thing. I'm sure there's a virtual bowling game somewhere. It's not.
Oh, there is.
On an antiquated gaming console.
Trash Monkey says, question, any idea on how much it will be to get an amazing... Well, this is where we run into problems with the term AA now. You understand that? But
yes, I know.
He's saying, I see what he's saying now. Any idea how much it will be to get an Amazing Adventure starter bundle? There's me. Oh, it won't. Well, I guess he won't know how much it's going to be for MSRP or something like that.
We will. It depends on what we put on it. I'm like 99% certain the screens are in there, so it'll come with the 2 core books, the screens, and an adventure. The core books are going to be the one will be $49.99, and the other one will be $39.99. I think. What page count?
Yeah,
39. So it's going to be around $90. I'm guessing something like that.
Look at the store.
We'll get you into it.
I don't remember what we sell the. I'll tell you.
Well, the one bundle, the CC bundle, has the 3 core books and adventure and screens in it.
So it'll be the same thing, less the hardback, right?
Yeah, it'll be one less hardback. Of course, the issue there is, and this, it's funny, we haven't had these conversations yet, but the issue there is there's no monsters in those 2 core books. So the bundle is going to have to include the monsters and treasures from Castles and Crusades. It's just going to have to, so that you have monsters to play in the thing. And that's the way it's designed. This is Jason Vay's idea. It was a great idea that we just make it so that any monster that you want from the M&T can go over. And then when the monster book for Amazing Adventures comes out, it's going to be very specific things. It'll have like Dracula in it. I can't think of it.
Okay, so
it's like that, but it'll have like iconic monsters in it.
Right.
That from not Pulp Fiction, from popular fiction and all that crap.
Yeah.
Where the future pointing. All things good. I mean, I don't know if that was a question, Screaming Biscuit, or not, but but I'm going to answer it anyways. We've got an exceedingly exciting fall already lined up with the releases of all 5 core books from Castles and Crusades Amazing Adventures. All those will start landing, and all of that kind of mad rush of small products that come with it. I think there's 6 that come with Amazing Adventures, some little adventures and some fiction stuff, things like that. We got the GM's Tricks of the Trade book coming out in about 3 weeks, give or take. That'll go to press probably Friday. And then we get to weigh into the Hermit will be coming out very, very soon. We've got the first layouts for the Hermit that went out in an update today. So the first of Gary Gygax's books will be hitting the shelves. Just there's so much coming down in Castle Zagig and Barsoom, Codex of the Plains. There's just an absolute ton lined up for the next couple of years. Got any more questions there?
Yes. This is from Mr. H4. What's the best campaign you've ever seen or run that was a gonzo kitchen sink setting? Something like Rifts or Doing with high, low tech, crazy mix of genres?
So I'm the wrong person to ask that. I run just fantasy games.
Answer, but he can't.
I'm literally the wrong. I have run some Gamma World way back in the early 80s. Yeah. And I don't even know if I ever ran Traveler. I played in Traveler, I know, but I don't know if I ran it. I don't think that I did. Most of the role-playing games I played in them and didn't run them. I ran AD&D, Forever and a Day, and then Castles and Crusades and Gamma World. I'd have to really think about it, but I think that's it. So I would say the kitchen sink, high tech, low tech, whatever, is going to be a Gamma World game. And I had a lot of fun with them. In those days, I was reading Robert Adams' Horse Clan series books, and which is Earth like 200 years after a nuclear war. And it's this exceedingly violent, beautifully violent series of books. And then when you look at Gamma World, the map is the United States. It's slightly altered by climate or whatever. And it was just a lot of fun. I absolutely love the mutants in Gamma World, all of that crap. Absolutely love it. I wish that they would do Gamma World justice. And I think that I haven't seen the latest one, but Gamma World, and maybe it's just my nostalgia that goes with it, but Gamma World has this very certain flavor to it that I think that is easy to lose if you mesh it with something like an Aliens vibe, Ripley and all that stuff.
They've not put an edition of it out in 14 years.
Okay, wow. Gamma World just has this. When you look at science fiction from the 1960s and 70s, it's very different than science fiction today, and it's the world that they thought we were going to be into by now. Little did they know nothing was going to change except there was going to be porn on everybody's computer. That was about the only thing to change. And I guess we went from analog to digital. Is that what that's the big changes in the last 40 years? But so it's interesting. So I'm reading a lot of this, and I don't know how to classify it. So right now I'm reading The Day After Roswell by Colonel Philip J. Corso. Now, this gentleman was in the Army for 40 years, World War II vet, Korean vet, served on Eisenhower's staff. And he writes his entire book. I'm about, third of the way through. And he writes his entire book postulating that he's seen the dead aliens. He's seen the alien tech that crashed at Roswell, all of this stuff. And it all just reads like so much fiction. It just reads like fiction. He swears it's true. His son swears it's true. Everybody involved swears it's true. And you can't really check up on them. It's very, very difficult to check up on this stuff. But it reads like this science fiction. And that's sort of where Gamma World lands. It lands in a world that is the future that we thought would happen, is then destroyed. So, I don't know, it has this nuanced innocence flavor to it. When you look at Aliens and Ripley and all of that stuff, when you watch Alien and then Aliens and then the others that have come after, it is nothing but gear. It's nothing like Star Trek or Star Wars or anything like they thought that the future would be like. Though it makes perfect sense. If you go inside any kind of battleship or aircraft carrier, cruiser, or destroyer, that's what they look like when you got pipes all over the place and everything, because you don't want to waste, you got to wait, and you got to deal with weight. You don't want to waste a lot of space and your weight quotas on paneling or whatever the hell it is. So there's this brutalism, I guess, with that type of science fiction that you don't really find in earlier science fiction, most of it anyways, and you don't really find in Gamma World. And I think maybe that's why Gamma World appealed to me so much, because it kind of captured that whole, I don't know, that vibe from the 70s that I grew up in. I may not enjoy it now, who knows, because I generally really, really, really like brutalism in everything that I read and watch. All right, so what's the next question? I went way off filter on that.
Oh, you're fine. Will you be reprinting Harvester's RPG from Player Some?
Yes. Well, qualified, yes. We would love to do Harvesters again, but that content is actually owned by John Siebel, and I'll have to talk to him. I'm sure he'll be more than happy that we do it, but it will come out in a very different format. There will not be a box set. It'll be a hardcover book and just sold. We're kind of done with that stuff. So the hope is, yes, I talk to John frequently. He's a good guy. We've known him for 20 years. I can't imagine him saying no, but if he said no, then it won't come in.
Yeah, that's something we have to figure out, because that's, of course, you got to have a good demographic for it, and I think there is one, but I don't know, it's a tough one. All right, let's see. Screaming Biscuit, thank you for the comments and answers. I'm fairly new to Aired and Castles and Crusades. I actually backed your Kickstarter and Dying War for 5e, but ended up liking the Castle Crusades better than 5e. Well, welcome in.
Oh, no. Yes, welcome to the table, and that's very, very cool. I mean, I'm glad we did that 5e, but I'm even happy that you found CSC, because it is. I'm sure 5e is a great game, but CSC really it's there for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very cool. And thanks for joining us today.
Someone asked earlier if you were going to plan on watching the latest Alien movie that's coming out.
Of course.
Romulus.
So,
and Alan says right there, are there any other movies in the series? There are no more movies in the series after Aliens, are they?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I see what he's saying.
Yeah. So, for those who may not know, there's Alien, which is really just a horror movie. Then there's Aliens, which is a classic science fiction war movie. Then Aliens 3, which is it's a good movie. It's a movie. And then there's Alien 4, which goes off the rails. And then there's two more. What are the other two called? I keep saying Corinthians, and it's not Corinthians. It's
Prometheus.
Prometheus is one, and then it begins with a C.
What is it? Come on. Resurrection, maybe? Covenant.
Covenant.
That's it.
Thank you, Huber. Thank you. Covenant.
Yeah, Covenant.
So the interesting thing for me about Covenant.
I've not seen Covenant.
So they're both fantastic movies. They're Ridley Scott movies, so they can't not. I mean, they're just fantastic movies. Mm-hmm. Though they're weirdly placed in the Alien
chronology
universe. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, sort of. Doesn't sort of. I mean, there's just some stuff that I didn't think he needed to have done. He tried to Marvel Universe his stuff up and make it all into one thing, and he didn't need to do that. Even didn't need to do that at all. But standalone movies, they're very, very good movies. Gothic horror, science fiction. I mean, edge of your seat.
So you like all of them?
I like all of them. I didn't care for the third movie, the prison one, because it began with, and I don't want to get any spoilers, but it began with the death of my favorite character. So that just irritated the crap out of me. So as soon as I was in the movie theater and 10 minutes into it, I was already irritated, and it was difficult for it to reset, and say, damn it, and this might be a good movie. And in the fourth movie, I thought was pretty cool until the end when I don't want to give any spoilers away, but she falls through the hatch into that weird room of all the weird, and it just kind of went off the rails. Spoil away. It's been a long time, so I'll spoil it away. So if you haven't seen them, you want to see them, Alan stands by a statement. Just mute me for a second. But the fourth movie, which I think is Resurrection, it's really kind of cool. It takes place in the future. They've cloned Ripley through a billion times or whatever they're doing. They're trying to clone, make this. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I can't remember. It's got Winona Ryder in it, which I'm a huge Winona Ryder fan. So anytime she's on screen, I'm showing up. But at the end of it, she falls into this room where there's all these creatures, half creatures made of her DNA and the aliens' DNA. And it goes from, well, this is interesting, this is kind of fun, to what am I watching? It's like the only part of Resident Evil that I don't particularly care for, and I love Resident Evil, as those of you out there may know. they do one whole movie, a half a movie, whatever, where there's a billion of her. They clone Alice a billion times. And it's enough of that nonsense. But so the fourth movie is okay. I watch pieces of it when when it pops up in front of me. But I thought Prometheus and Covenant fantastic movies, and I'm definitely going to see Romulus. I mean, Ridley Scott makes great movies. It doesn't matter if they're historically accurate or whatever they're accurate, but his movies are just fantastic and fantastical, and he casts very, very well. Covenant had one of the best casts, I thought, since Aliens. Just good stuff. So I would recommend you watch it. Don't try to put too much into his universe, because he makes the alien, the insect type dude, is now related to the original DNA or something. I don't know. It gets all weirdly confusing. Any more questions have rolled up?
Yeah, but I want to just to tag at the end of that conversation. Read what Kothar said right there. That's a long comment about food you might want to read.
Okay, so King Carther says, real Ridley Scott quote, when asked if Deckard is a replicant, Harrison was going, I don't know about that. I said, but you have to be, because Gaff, who leaves a trail of origami everywhere, will leave you a little piece of origami at the end of the movie to say, I've been here, I left her alive, and I can't resist letting you know that's in what your most private thoughts when you get drunk is a unicorn, right? So I love Beavis and Butthead, so what should follow this? I don't even know what that means. I do know that's the long discussion of whether Deckard, and Blade Runner is a whole different movie than the Alien franchise, of course. But Blade Runner, did I say Blade Runner, Deckard? Yeah. I love the ending of Blade Runner. I thought the little unicorn thing, and I never at any point, having watched that in the theater and 100 times afterwards, ever did I think that Deckard was a unicorn. I thought that he just left the origami there to let Deckard know that he was there, and he let the girl live. And still, my favorite version of Blade Runner is the one with the Harrison Ford yakking, talking on it, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. That's still my favorite version of all.
Okay, let's see. And DM John has been stuck in traffic for 30 minutes now.
That is not horrible.
That was a question earlier I meant to read to you. He wanted to ask you how long he would be in traffic. So now we know. At least 30 minutes.
30 minutes, apparently.
Yeah. Aramal asks, question, what was your inspiration for the nation of Punj?
So I absolutely love Eastern architecture, and it's not Eastern if you live in Russia, but if you live out, in the Slavic countries, Ukraine, Belarus, whatever. I just love that architecture out there, and it was one of the things that when I designed Arid, one of the design inspirations that went into it is I wanted people to be able to play whatever type of character dress-wise they could. There's a little Spartan in there, there's a little Roman in there, there's medieval France in there, there's medieval England in there, there's ancient Egypt in there. There's just all of it is kind of put in there, and I thought that Russians with their giant fur hats and swords and horses, the Cossacks, I should say. That's the Punj is directly inspired by that. Who is it? Ivan the Terrible and his knuckleheads from Russia.
Yeah. Okay. Joni Omaha says, I bought the Goodman Games Temple of Elemental Evil 2 volume set because you guys suggested to start with the T1 Town of Hamlet for the upcoming virtual Greyhawk Con. And I saw that, Steve, you have an opening segment in that book about you and Davis playing Hamlet for the first time.
Yes, I play Hamlet so many times.
So many times. I know that's usually your adventure to go to, right?
Yeah. So Hamlet. I can't say which one. Davis bought B1 first. I didn't buy anything in those days back in the 70s.
No, you just. I told somebody the other day about you. I said he didn't buy shit. Davis took care of that.
Davis bought it, and if I wanted it, I didn't borrow it. I didn't buy crap. I didn't buy the player's handbook. Didn't buy any of it. But I've got. It's either in there or in here. I've got Davis's original T1. It's got all his notes in it because he took each of the NPCs that's in T1 and he made notes on them, giving them those. Some had names, some didn't, but he'd give them names and backgrounds, personalities, and stuff. So that when my characters went to the village of Hamlet, he had all of his stuff. It was. I think that he ran it so insanely well that it resonated with me, making the village of the Hamlet kind of a pillar of the way I look at the way gaming content should be created. I don't always achieve that, but that's what I think.
Well, Let's see. MJ Cook says, any updates for the CNC starter box?
No.
Not right now. Check back in a couple of months.
Yeah, give us a couple weeks. The log jam is being unjammed. Very happy about that. So
Slowly,
over the
surely.
next, as we finish, once they go to print, we're kind of done with them. So if there's a problem with it, it's done, and we won't be addressing with it. And then we can get back to some of these projects like that one and the code up to the plane.
Yeah, no shit. Alien Gear asks, are the older classic monster books integrated into the latest M&T books, or would it be good to go and try and find those?
So in the current one for sale right now, yes, Classic Monsters was all integrated into the 5th printing of the M&T. In the 6th printing of the M&T, I can't speak to that because we've cleaned out a lot. Some names have changed, and now I'm completely confused as to what's in and what's not. So I don't have the book in front of me. So I think that if you have the 5th printing or the 4th printing, you should be good to go. If you don't have one of those, then I would hunt down a Classic Monsters if you want them. Nothing's really changing in them, but just to have all that content, because some of it will get lost. I can guarantee.
Yeah. Let's see. Summoner of Turnian asks, you may have stated already. Sorry if I've missed it, but what's the current release date for the Adventurer's Armory?
So the Adventurer's Armory itself is deep into layout. I haven't asked him yesterday, but he finished helmets. I'm not sure where he is. I think he's in armor. So he's got the siege equipment. I know he still's got to do, and some armor. So 40, 50 pages, maybe, give or take, probably not that many. And then I was looking at his layout today, and it's missing some stuff that absolutely has to go in there. I know he's done the art for it, but it's just so we're going to have to jostle the layout. So that book should be ready. It's probably going to be after Gen Con before I get a chance to look at it. And tell Peter, what to dive in. Though I may at Gen Con be able to do it. I'll be in my room, so I'm not running the booth since Grace and Dakota will be doing that. And then the weapons, the Monstrous Armory is almost ready for editing. I think by Thursday, it will be ready for editing, and then off to the editing it goes. But it still needs a chunk of art. So I'm hoping within the next 30 days, we're able to look at print dates on that.
Can we say Fire Giant Trebuchet?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Special ammo. Oh, I already have. Okay, it looks awesome. Anyway. Oh, look.
Yes, Peter. Yes.
All right, let's see. Sparky asks, what nation in Aird has the Egyptian flair?
So there's two that run with that. And they're both ancient and have fallen. So it's really kind of the old world type thing. But it's the ancient Ethram and the ancient Enochians. The ancient Ethram kind of shed that when Luther becomes king. They kind of shed that. Even before that, to some degree, they had shed the old ways, the August and all of that. But the Enochians continue to do it. And remained in this kind of, when you think of their palaces and their temples, you should think Egyptian, and it goes up right until Alstrag is when Unklar comes in and destroys everything. So all of the ruins, when you're reading about any ruins, particularly in the East and Enosia, older ruins and stuff like that, always think ancient Egyptian. I still contend, I've said this 1,000 times, but I don't know who looks of all of the species of mankind. It's either going to be the ancient Egyptians look the coolest or the Pawnee Indians look the coolest. The Pawnee just look badass. I mean, there's just no getting around it. The Pawnee look badass. But the Egyptian has some great looking clothes or lack thereof or whatever it was. All right, what's the next question?
Let's see. Oh. This is from Darth DQ. Any status update on TrollCon? Next year. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Next year for sure. No. Art Claude Bruce asks, question. Sorry if I missed it. Any idea when our Pled Manager will go out for Kickstarter? I'm assuming you're asking about the most previous Kickstarter.
Very soon on the Hermit, probably in and around Gen Con time, the Hermit will go out. That one's already set and ready to go.
Right.
And then the Amazing Adventures ones will be out very soon. And then probably end of August, we'll do Arms and Armor. We really don't want to charge anyone until the books are at the printers, so that you don't have to pay shipping and then wait 6 months for it to show up.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I think we're caught up finally on everything, other than the wonderful comments everybody's making in here. Good.
Excellent. Yeah. So it's, I mean, I don't know. We've got so many things going on, and I'm so very, very excited that the Amazing Adventures books have turned out to look as good as they do. Everyone's going to be jazzed on those things.
Yeah.
They should be out first, followed by the Hermit. And the Hermit, our layout, man, I cannot speak to how cool the layout looks on the Hermit, and it's a direction we're going to start taking more and more product.
Oh my God, I can't even begin to go and talk about how great
it is. It's
great,
just
guys.
fantastic. Yeah, you'll see that actually pop up in the Beneath the Canopy Green, that kind of layout. And then on top of that, of course, we've got the 3 core books, which I just want to get them back out. I mean, we're still selling the stuff. It's the same game, so we're still selling everything. But I'm anxious to get these 3 books out, specifically the Monsters and Treasures, because it is there's so much art that's new, and the monsters will have, monster per art. It's just going to be fantastic. And then after that, this might be Peter Bradley's magnum opus if he doesn't, just ride off into the sunset after this one, because he's drawn almost 1,000 arms, weapons, armor, shields. I think he's about done with it. I don't blame him.
So at this point, all he hears is the word club.
Yeah.
And shield, I guess. I don't know.
Right, 2,000, he says. Yeah, it's an absolutely batshit amount of which is great. I mean, and Peter, I was going through the thing today, and I know backers have seen it, but you cannot look at Peter's weapon art and not be impressed. You just can't. I mean, it looks so cool. I was in the axe section today, poking around looking for something, and the Spangle Helm, is that what it's called? His weapons are just unmatched.
Well, just like you were talking about earlier with the scale mail.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's something that, of course, Peter did a lot of anachronism. What is it? The Society for Creative Anachronism. His parents were costumers for Hollywood. So he's got all of this background in costume and actual what the stuff actually looked like. Like when you look at Warhammer stuff and you look at, I don't know, like the latest Conan movie, none of these weapons are realistic. None of them are kind of, with any of that mess. But Peter's got this gigantic background for all the stuff. And it doesn't hurt that he lives in Leeds, England. And last time I was over there, he and I went to this ginormous weapons museum. I mean, the thing is just absolutely monstrous. I'm forgetting how to draw people. Yeah, there you go, Peter. So he's got this place that he can go and look at all these, all this reference material too. So that helps.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be easy. Let's see if I can get a page out. We're going to be heading out.
I don't know what you want to show though.
I some of the swords. Well, let's look at the axes. I was looking at the axes. Let me give you a page number.
Page number, and I'll pull it out. I got it right here.
This is the pole arms, and it's nothing set where we can jump around just yet. So it's it's still very much in the proto phase of putting all this craziness into.
I like that terminology, proto. That's excellent. Start using that.
Yeah. Peter, what pages are the axes on? Why have I lost my ever-loving mind?
I don't know. Is this content accurate in the front? If it is, axes.
It should be relatively.
Page 47.
Okay, let me jump to that. Yep, there we go. All right, so do page. You know what? Do page 48. That's 6 perfect examples, especially with the battle axe. It's just. Oh, so you got it's just good stuff. We can see you scrolling. I don't know if you intended that, but that works.
Is that up? Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Why is that even active?
Royal Armories. Yeah, Alan knows the place. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Peter took me there when I was over there last year or 2 years ago, whenever I was over there. 2,000 kittens. That's it's funny, Starlaw, you say that. I was looking at some of Peter's, so I got it. So when we need filler art, Peter's done so much art for TLG in the past 25 years that it's crazy. So I'll go look at some of his older products and see, I need something for this. I needed something for the Sword of Rami that we just released. But I went to his art book that we published, 15 years ago. And about 5 or 6 of these super heroic pictures of people battling dragons or whatever. If you look, there's a little kitten running out or a cat running to the side or being scared or something. I don't know why Peter does it, but he he likes to draw cats. I'm going to draw Steve's favorite thing next to CNC anime style game. Hey, Peter Davis and I had a nice long conversation yesterday. You'll be happy with. So we're you and Mel have gotten into my head finally. So we'll see. I have an SCA friend who did the Battle of Hastings reenactment one year. Oh wow, that's amazing. I only went to a couple of the small ones. There's a big one in Pennsylvania called what is that one called, Peter? Penta something war? Penta war? Where you get hundreds of people out there battering the heck out of each other. It's really, really cool. Peter Bradley's Book of Mermaids. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, it's just the Pennsic War. Yeah, M5. It's good. I was a member of the SCA for about 2 years. My character's name was Reynard something. I can't remember. I believe it was Reynard. I can't even remember my backstory anymore. I had a pretty cool costume. Went to, I don't know, a couple of the fests here in Little Rock and in Jonesboro. It's a lot of fun. Johnny, there was a post on Twitter over the last week or so that posted a river crossing and mentioned Stephen. And if you know, you know. And I didn't know, but now I want to know what's with the river crossing.
There you go, buddy. I just went ahead and shared the screen like that. We can actually scroll through this or something because I was trying.
Yeah, if you look at that's Peter's art. I mean, his drawings of these axes, and they're just accurate. They look real. They just look real. They look what the halves have, carving. I don't know. They just look fantastic. So that type of art, that's my favorite. I'm still a huge fan of line art, black and white. I guess that's that line art, Peter. I don't know what it's called. That type of art, absolutely no. All right, so Johnny Oma, I have earned an unjustly earned a reputation for drowning characters. I do lots of river crossings. To introduce people to Castles and Crusades, I always do a river crossing because you have to do so many attribute checks, and it gives the CK an opportunity to do a bunch of attribute checks. But swamps, lakes, rivers, flood zones. There's a lot of water in my games. I don't really know, not seas or oceans so much, but lots of waters. And characters tend to sometimes not fare as well as perhaps Aquaman or some of the other swimmers do. The absolute worst drowning that has ever happened in my game was way back in the 80s, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the game, when you rolled, if you were a fighter and you rolled your attributes and you rolled an 18 for your strength, you had to roll it. You couldn't walk into it. You couldn't earn it otherwise. But if you rolled an 18, you were allowed to roll a percentile. And if you rolled, whatever, I can't remember what the stats were, but if you got a 00, it was the highest strength that any beginning character could get. So to roll an 18 on 46 and then a 100 on a percentile, I don't know what the odds are. They're not high. But Todd Gray had rolled an 18, all legitimate. I saw him. There was nothing fudged. He rolled a legitimate, not that Todd would ever cheat, but he rolled a legitimate 18, and then he rolled a 00. He made it to second level, and he was trying to swim this river, huge current, lots of rain. He did 5. We had a rudimentary attribute check system in those days. I had him make 5. I think it was dex checks. I'm pretty sure it was dex checks. 5 dex checks, and he failed them horribly. All of them rolling 1s, 2s, and 3s. We'd have to ask Todd. He still gets very angry when I talk about this character. but I remember on his 5th fail, because I was trying not to kill him, and in those days I was not gentle with characters. I kill characters in a heartbeat. And I didn't kill them like Jim Ward used to say. They killed themselves or got themselves killed. But I turned to Todd after his 5th utterly horrible roll, and I said, Todd, I remember just like it was yesterday, and this was 30 years ago or whatever. He goes, I know. And he drowned. So I killed his poor character with a 00. It was the saddest river crossing of all time. My dad had an 18 double alt strength fighter named Solar, famous character in their games. Yeah, it's so rare. It is so rare to get an 18 00. Fair, But since then, Johnny, I have drowned many puddle crossing, many characters. It may come from the fact, if Davis were here, he could tell the story better than me. But when I was a kid, I have two older brothers, Davis and Zane. Davis is 2 years older. Zane's 4 years older, or something like that. We all got along great, but the merciless teasing that brothers will do. I remember when they grabbed me one day, and they trusted me up, and they put me in the bathtub, and Davis was going to do the Chinese water torture on me.
Jesus.
So Davis turned the faucet off so that this one little drop of water would be falling out. That went on for about 45 seconds, maybe a minute, and not very long. And Zane said, "Oh, the hell with that!" And he just opened both, and he waterboarded me basically. So maybe that's
hearing these stories of growing up explains a lot.
Yeah, unresolved trauma. I'm going to drown characters.
Really... Aramile had a question. Then we've got to do some giveaway. No, we're not doing giveaways today. Well, we got to.
I'm going to answer that question. I'll tell one more story to give people context. But go ahead. Good. What's the question?
Is there a list anywhere of what real world cultures inspired all the nations in the lands of Orsel and I guess in Ered in general? Really?
So yes, in the original Codex of Ered, definitely in the opening.
Really?
But you know what? Yes, I think I cut that out. I don't think it's in the latest one.
I don't know. I remember it being. I thought you had migrations, but I don't know about.
No, if you look at the original, I don't know what my original one is.
I've got one, but it's not over here. I gave it to the players.
So the original Ered is going to have this spine. It has the orange spine, and the spelling is ERDE. And in the front of it is is it a forward? Is that what I've done? Yes, there is a note from the authors in the front, and it gives you a list of it. Keomar is English, Anglais is French, Berg is German, Brindisium is Latin, Rome, Tegia is Greek. We should put this out there. That got cut.
Should put it back in the damn book.
Yeah, that got cut for some reason. I don't know why that got cut. That's very interesting. But we'll get it out there somewhere. Absolutely. So just for quick context before we do the giveaways, Zane and Davis were always tackling me. And the reason that they did this is because I became a young escape artist. I remember once they tied me up with some nylon cord and put me in my mom and dad's closet and turned the light off. Well, the light in the closet was one of those on the side and not above. So I stood up in the dark and I busted the light with my head. And then I laid on the ground and I cut the nylon rope with the broken charge of the light bulb. Those two were sitting on a couch with space between the two of them watching TV. I did not say a word, not a single word. When I walked downstairs and I jumped on the couch and sat between them and started watching the TV with them, they were stunned that I got out of their horrible. So that became kind of a thing, I think, that they hounded me to hell and back again. It's all right. It's all good. Houdini Chenault, yeah, something like that.
Oh my word.
It's just really funny.
That's a hell of a story. But I mean, it sounds a lot like, well, I don't know. I only had one brother growing up, but we got, brothers growing up, we got into it a few times. I remember one time we were arguing over something, and my mom got between us and kind of pushed me back on my bed and said, you're older than him. Don't be picking on him. And while I was trying to explain to her, he reached through and punched me right in the face and ran off. And I had to go to high school. I was like 11th grade, and he was like 8th grade, and I had a black eye. And I caught hell from everybody about it.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have fought either one of Zane and Davis. Is just built like a troll or something. Dude, stronger than a brick house. And Zane started lifting weights young, so
yeah,
be around the pole. So
you didn't have much of a chance, to be honest with you.
No, not really. But I was always laughing and cracking jokes, and just I found everything funny. So it probably aggravated the shit out of both of them. So there you go.
All right,
I think we got to wind up.
Yep.
Go ahead. We're gonna raid out.
Yeah, I'm gonna raid out. I'm gonna start a raid. We're gonna go raid over to Table Story. They're running some D&D. We raid them sometimes. I'm gonna put them up there. You guys want to hang out, and watch something? Watch. They got a really good, intense stream. I know they do some good production over there. We'll be back tomorrow morning. I'll have my stream in the morning. We'll be talking about what I'm working on and just answering questions for PLG. And then that'll be followed back up with us again Thursday evening with our weekly roundup with Troll Lord staff. So come by and see that. If you are at all curious, here is our Twitch schedule. And I think I will be able to run my game this coming weekend. So hopefully we'll see you guys at that too. So that's what we got going on. If you guys are good, we're going to leave right out.
Thank you all. Thank everybody for showing up. I loved it as always. Tuesday's my favorite, most relaxing show. Always. And we'll see you tomorrow and then again on Thursday.
All right. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Trolza! Ow!
Take it easy, everybody.